San Mateo County Community College Board of Trustees.
We are deeply concerned by the fact that many of our part-time colleagues have inadequate office space, inadequate time to learn about curricular relations among classes, inadequate information about student placement and other practices, and inadequate chances to contribute to divisional decision-making. As a result, on March 18, the full-time faculty of my division gave the college administration a statement requesting at least 6 full-time positions for fall 1988, in addition to full-time replacements for any retirees. We have asked for 1 new full-time position in each of 3 areas, speech, Spanish, and reading, and 3 positions in English. We are waiting for an official response to our statement. The faculty in this district are committed to providing our students with a sound education.
The contract calls for the evaluation of all faculty, full and part-time. Yet it turns out that in some divisions, part-timers have not been evaluated. And to have teachers that are, coming into contact with the public not being evaluated is not in the interest of anyone. I mean, it's vital that teachers be evaluated, and if they're doing a good job, that they be offered more classes as they become available, and if full-time jobs open up, that the qualified, experienced part-time teachers be given those positions. So that would be one area, just to have the administration follow, the contract, I think would be a big first step.
I'm married to an administrator. I don't see administrators as enemies. I know that they want the school to work too. But they're not in the classroom, and they're not leading those discussions and trying to find out exactly what that student in the corner is half saying, because it's a new idea, something that hadn't occurred to me, and if I pay a little bit more attention to what he or she is saying, I can bring something new up, and I'll enjoy the new idea, and the class will enjoy the new idea, and that student will know he makes a difference. That, in fact, what he thinks is important and can change other people's minds. But if there are 35 people in the class for a freshman composition class, that's not going to happen.
The morale issue is one that really, really interests me, because I saw people becoming more active, not only in district-wide union events, but union things on campus. People who had previously did not want to be a chair, a leader, a committee-type member, like yours truly, who joins everything that comes along. I've seen people actually participate, people who didn't participate before, become very active to make this union work. Not necessarily for the union's sake, but for our sake, because we are that union.
The fundamental basis and assumption for the running of a local is the volunteer efforts of the membership, and the fundamental body for deciding policy and the fundamental principles of the organization are established by the membership itself. This is then translated into a representative body called an executive council or an executive committee, which seeks to implement the will of the membership, establishing committee structures and things like that, which allow members to participate in all levels of the local's functioning.
I must confess, I think AFT has provided me the arena to do a lot of stuff from the faculty and student proponent of education. I've been very active with affirmative action ever since AFT became the bargaining agent for this district. Now, affirmative action, with Reagan in, hey, it's changed a lot. But we have kept the focus of what affirmative action is here in the San Mateo district. Basically, we try to provide not just the letter of the law, but the intent of the law, okay? I've been on the District Affirmative Action Committee, for about like a year and a half, since it's relatively new. But I have been an affirmative action representative on Skyline's campus for about the last 8 years. That's been about as long as I've been here full-time. Now, one of the things that I got to say that I appreciate about the union is that when we first got in as the bargaining agent, they were they meaning us, of course, were very reasonable about having an affirmative action clause to the contract. Went over with no problem.
All right, this is a committee that the administration and the AFT and the Faculty Senate jointly agreed to set up to deal with workload concerns before they actually get to the bargaining table, so that lots of different ideas can be brought forth. Ultimately, they're all bargaining issues, so they'll have to be dealt with in the bargaining process. But it was hoped that it would be a non-confrontational kind of setting where representatives from the administration and the Senate and the union would be sitting around a table and talking about them. And we met every other week for the full year. My personal interest in being on this committee, and as you know, I'm very protective of my time and my energy because I have to be, is ultimately a selfish one. If I can't do the best job of teaching I can do, I don't want to do it. And I've taught here for 22 years. I expect to be teaching here for another 17, 18, maybe even 20. I mean, this is what I'm doing with my life. And I don't want them to make it impossible for me to do the job. And an easy way of saying to the outside world that yes, we're still teaching, and yes, we're doing it on the money that you're giving us, even though you're not paying in property taxes anymore, and the kinds of things that we're saying to the outside world, is by simply increasing the number of students in every class, increasing the teacher load, and then ignoring the fact that less is happening in those classes. So that's why I was willing to work on the committee.
We have gotten a sexual harassment clause put into the district policies. Now, this was not just for the contract for AFT, but the district is doing it. We also have a behavior clause that was put into the district policies last year. That's two very important things that we set as goals, and we were able to accomplish. The AFT was very helpful because they told us when and where, if we were crossing the lines, to be careful of not taking the letter of the law a little bit too far. Even though the lawyer for the district said one thing, I believe the AFT.
What I would say is something I wish I could say to teachers in my district, because we're not AFT and I wish we were, is that it's very obvious that in unity there is strength. And the new teachers learn, the ones I work with learn very quickly that that's true. There's a tendency at first to want to be a good person and really want to do what's asked of you, even if it's not what you think is really right. But they learn very quickly that the stronger you are, the more you stand up, the stronger you become, and the better off you are.